Hello, everyone, and welcome to Petite to Queen's Claim Your Career Crown podcast. I'm your host, Lynn, and today I'm joined by our VP of Operations, Amanda.
Hey, everyone.
And our very special guest, John Vuong.
Hi, Lynn. Hi, Amanda.
So for everyone out there, John is a seasoned sales professional and internet marketer with an exceptional track record helping companies grow their clientele and profits. So that's just who we want to have today. And pardon me if I read some of my notes because John's resume or bio is really phenomenal. So through 15 years of experience working with CEOs, business owners, marketing leaders, and some of Canada's most successful corporation, John developed a deep understanding of local marketing dynamics and consumer behavior. John's entrepreneurial spirit and experience working with more than 5,000 local business owners inspired him to start his own company, Local SEO Search, in 2013. It is a full-service digital agency and one of the top SEO agencies in Canada. Congrats! So Local SEO Search is a one-stop shop for small and medium-sized businesses. They provide analytics, design, regular audits, keyword search, and social media marketing. Local SEO Search also provides free education to small business owners through live events, their podcast, Local SEO Today. So this is going to be wonderful, and this is very important because today we're going to be talking about how small businesses can maximize their sales by using SEO to attract more customers. John, welcome to the show. We're so thrilled to have you here today.
Well, thanks for the intro, Lynn. I'm excited to be on your show today, and hopefully I can add some valuable insights and give some information on tips on how to really help small business owners grow digitally today.
Fabulous. That's what we want to hear. So before we get right into it, for everyone who's joining us for the first time, hey, go ahead and hit that subscribe button wherever you get your podcasts. And while you're at it, share the love for Claim Your Career Crown and click all 5 stars. Thank you. Thank you. All right, John, let's dive in. So can you share more about your career journey? Because it's a great place to start, because you started out being a newspaper carrier, and you became a top sales representative, and then you started your own business. So what made you want to just sort of give us a sort of a highlight of the journey, and then what was the culmination so that you decided you wanted to start Local SEO Search?
Yeah, so I mean, I can go way back when I first started. Newspaper boy, my first job. I probably had 20 different jobs up until college, university, and even afterwards, I had multiple jobs before I kind of settled with not just sales, advertising sales, but really focus in the advertising realm. But I was ultra curious. I was always wanting to learn and evolve and get better. And I was really a people person. So I love communicating, talk to real humans, right? So there's a difference in today's society and different how people perceive technology, but I still am the old school kind of person that loved meeting real people. But 8 years ago, I started this agency back in 2013. The real reason I started was I did work at Yellow Pages, and I was there for 5 years. That's where I met thousands of these business owners. And these business owners were very much similar to myself. They had really good upbringings. They were hard workers. They understood how to take care of their community. They took care of their customers. They listened. They added value to the people that they wanted to serve, right? So they offered up a really good product and service that people are willing to pay for. And they survived. They supported their family. They supported the community in that sense. So I knew that I wanted to be like them when I grew up, all right? Like when I started to mature and wanted to do something to help them. So at the end of my tenure at Yellow Pages, those business owners just knew that the return on investment, people were spending more than ever with Yellow Pages, but not getting a good lead flow conversion rate. Customers were changing their behavior. And as you know, Google kind of started becoming the place where people would discover and search for things. And I knew that, I wanted to help these really good, hardworking business owners, and they wanted to work with someone that they can trust, build a strong relationship with, and wanted to do the best for, purpose, right? Position them as experts online. So that's what I went out to do. I formed a company not knowing anything about SEO. I didn't have a technical background. I was a sales rep, really. And I knew there was a need in the marketplace. And that's how I started this business 8 years ago. Just listening to business owners, putting together a product and service that they needed, and went out and fulfilled it.
Yeah, so you saw that critical gap in what they wanted, needed, or lacked, and then you went to fill that and build that solution for them. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, it took me years to harvest and understand how to do it properly. So I made a lot of mistakes early days. I took on a lot of wrong clients. I, just like any business, right? You learn. You hopefully don't learn the hard way and you fold. But I never gave up. I always wanted to get better. I was very transparent early days, and I still am today, to really let people in on my journey, my story, my learning curve, my failures. Like, this is a part of life. You just have to go through all these little peaks and valleys to, learn as much as you can and grow.
Well, I'm so glad you mentioned that book. I love the Peaks and Valleys book. I mean, if that's what you're referencing. But you know what? It is so true, because we all are. I like to think of myself as a learn it all, not a know it all. And I continually learn and grow. And that's what's so amazing, because things constantly change as well. So you need to be really open to that. That's an amazing story.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, it's true. I also love learning. And actually, speaking of SEO, that's something I've had to learn a lot since starting my career after graduating college. So, local SEO search is all about SEO. Broadly speaking, why would you say SEO is so important for businesses making sales?
Yeah, so I feel positioning yourself as a leader, as a thought leader, as an expert. And this is what search engines can offer you, because there's a huge amount of users potentially searching for your product and service. So it's positioning yourself. And just like how Yellow Pages did a really good job for over a century, where they delivered a product that was free, going to every single business and home. And what you wanted to do as a business owner was just being available for them, right? Like, being at the forefront of knowing how people were buying your product and service. So understanding that they already had a huge amount of users consuming it when they were ready to buy. And for you to just actively advertise, that was, not hard for a business owner to understand. So fast forward to technology growing the last couple of years, like Yellow Pages kind of now doesn't get used as often as Google. Google kind of replaced the entire way people now consume information and search for products and services, or even businesses. So now understanding like Yellow Pages and Google is now the first thing people kind of do when they're actively looking for a service provider, going to a restaurant or a plumber or whatever it may be. And you just need to then figure a way to be at the front of it. And if you are, then you're in front of as many potential prospects as possible. And that's what I feel like SEO, if done right, it's all about positioning yourself, being more visible, and being an option for your customers seeking out your product and service. And the more prominent you are, the higher up, the more you can, give to your users and prospects in Google, the more higher you're going to get ranked. And then you become a thought leader, and users believe and trust Google. For people that are ranking fairly high, they feel that Google's done their best job matching the website with the users. And you're probably going to vet and check out a couple websites before you make an ultimate decision to reach out to them for your offering.
Yeah, so other than paid advertising, what tools should small and medium companies use to maximize their SEO?
Yeah, so there's a lot of free tools and plugins that you can use. So building a website, first foundation is build your own asset website. And there's a lot of different ways to build your website. You can use the builders out there, the Wix, the Shopify, Squarespace, GoDaddy website builder. There's so many out there, right? But if you're serious, I would say build it from scratch. What I mean by that is get a developer, build it from HTML, hard code. It could be WordPress, Joomla, whatever it may be. But make sure you have full backend access so that you can compete with some of the larger, heavier players in the industry. Because if you're going to do it right, you got to own your asset to have full control of all the code and modifications. So that's the first thing, building a foundation of your website. The tools that can help you elevate your ranking is there's over 200 signals. There's not just one thing you can do. That's the challenge with SEO. Like, I built this team to really help businesses not worry, because there's too many aspects that matter to rank a website. And I'll just follow off a couple of them. On page your website, content piece, development piece, graphic design, reputation management, link building, social media management. Like, all these play in terms of like getting your exposure, amplification. And just like building a business, it takes time to understand that there's operations, HR, accounting, bookkeeping, supply chain. There's so much going on. It's the same thing with your website. There's too many factors. And as a business owner, you're kind of overwhelmed, not knowing where to go, how to do it, what to do, how to do it properly to scale and grow and generate revenue. So there's not one tool. We have a stack of probably a dozen tools to help businesses, you know, with my team that has dozens of people on a campaign, because we need that to compete properly.
So, sorry, I think my video disappeared, but I think it's been doing that today, but anyway. So I think one of the most popular SEO tools that I've heard of is Yoast SEO, and that's something that we use at Petite de Queen, and something I've used at a lot of websites that I've worked on. Is that something that you recommend or have familiarity with, or is it something that you would actually advise people to stay away from?
Yeah, so Yoast All-in-One SEO are free plugins. There's also a paid plugin of that option as well. That's on-page SEO. So that's just helping you with title tags, meta description, H1 tags, keyword density, some internal linking. So that's very much an intro to SEO of on-page. And that's touching the surface of SEO in general. So an agency like what we offer is more of full service to really compete with hyper competitive markets like the dentists, the lawyers, the B2B companies that are trying to get a very good foothold on their market. I live in Toronto, Canada. It's a hyper competitive market, just like Manhattan, like Chicago, like LA. There's a lot of competition. And if you want to compete with the big boys, you need a full realm of entire team to do and help you rank on the first page of Google.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Much more comprehensive. So you've worked with a lot of businesses over the last 8 years or so. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you've seen businesses make when it comes to SEO? Like, what are they doing wrong, or what are they forgetting to do?
Yeah, so when we take on a client, we see a lot of things from what some other SEO companies have done, what they've been trying to do themselves. The challenge is it's not wrong or it's not right. I just feel for us, we do a full dig analysis. We benchmark, we look at your competitors, and we want to outrank them, right? You want to play like be where your competitors are to eventually be in the same ballpark and be more visible. So I feel just understanding that there's gaps, there's opportunities, there's ways to improve. And that's a growth mindset, right? Like, there's things that you can always do better, and there's no right or wrong way from other agencies, and maybe you doing it yourself, creating content, you know, missing title tags or not optimizing, not A/B testing, not user experience wise, you know, everything. There's not just one, there's so many different variations of things that we've seen over the years, right? Not enough links, not enough reviews. There's so many things.
Yeah. So when it comes to like building out content, which you touched on. Obviously when in sales and you're looking to provide value to your existing customers and your potential customers, creating some really great content and things that they can partake of. And that can be a really great way to really leverage that content to attract an audience. And how do you really leverage that with SEO?
Yeah, so one thing I always advise business owners is your business inside out. You know your customers inside out. So find out who your 10 best customers are. That's the profile of your customers that you want to attract from your website. And ask them every single question they had before they picked and decided to use you. Probe them. Ask them the who, what, why, when, where questions, right? And now you have a list of blogs that you can really write about to answer any of their concerns and problems and understanding of the product and service that you are offering. That's blog content for you. And that's going to resonate with your 10 best clients, right? A lot of people don't think about it that way. They're always going after high volume traffic, keyword trending keywords. It has no real value. Like, look at your real customers that are actively paying you money. Those are your bread and butter customers. And if you do that well and you understand like you should be only speaking to them, then your website starts becoming a lead magnet of inbound, good, ready to buy customers of your highest ticket value customers, and it becomes a great asset to your business.
Yeah, I really am an advocate for, answering those top 10 questions as well. And also like the top 10 objections so that they're addressed, right up front. And that's I'm right down there with it because I think it's a great way to develop your content because it's what they're looking for and the answers that they're seeking.
Exactly. Best questions, best problems, best reasons why they should reach out to you. Like any questions and that you can answer, put it on your website because that's your asset.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So how does local SEO search help businesses correct their mistakes and make their websites and products more findable?
Yeah, so we're full service. So whenever you work with us, you don't have to worry. We have a full team that does all the changes, fixes, and then building authority, right? All the link building, all the relationship build. So that's how we differ. We're full service. We have a full in-house team of every single pillar that needs to be in place to have a really good campaign. The challenge is there's a lot of SEO companies and a lot of digital marketers, contractors, freelancers, in-house experts that claim to do everything. Well, how can you be a good writer, a developer, link builder, social media manager, content manager, graphic designer? You can't do everything really well, right? So you need specialists that are individualized with real expertise, with 5-10 years of experience. That's what an expert should be, right? Someone with real experience. So you can't claim to be an expert by only giving 1 year or 6 months. You got to put in the time.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true.
Yeah, it is. I mean, as we know too well, I mean, just, and you also have to choose, where you're really going to focus your efforts. Can be really difficult to do all of these different things, right? Because for a smaller business, the cost to have all these different people on staff, and they may not, may or may not have a full-time job, but then, you're also looking at where's the best place to really focus and build something out. So, with that sort of preface, what are your final tips for business owners when they're just getting started and dipping their toes into the world of SEO? Because I know that it really is. It's so important.
Yeah, SEO is very important for a lot of business owners, but I think the most important thing small business owners or starting off business owners should be doing is focusing on understanding how to run a really good sound business. The foundation is more important. And what I mean by that is really get to know the value you're bringing to the table, what your competitors are doing, what's your services offering, what's your uniqueness, right? How do you get better to refine that? And if you can do that really well, then your website should speak of it. And then from there, you build upon that, right? So it's a slow progression, and people may want to jump right into SEO, but it's a long-term play. And when you're starting off, I would say don't heavily focus and invest tons of money in SEO, because you're going to be disappointed and you might run out of your budget very soon. And it's
Yeah.
very time sensitive. I would say learn soft skills such as how to sell, learn how to negotiate, how to take care of your customers, how to service them well, how to reduce your costs. These things are more foundational of how to run a business. When you start getting revenue and you have some profitability and you kind of know and predictable, like how to grow a business is don't invest fully on different marketing channels and advertising avenues, because you don't know if that's going to even generate anything, right?
Yeah.
Any value. So focus on like either self-development or hire people that there's gaps in your business. And I know it's against what I'm selling as an SEO provider, but it's the honest truth. A lot of people jump into SEO too early, and that's a problem too. They're not experts yet. Learn how to run a business. Be an expert. Then an expert like SEO can help you become expertly known online, right? If you're not an expert yourself in the business that you're selling a product or service, why would people buy something from you in the first place, right? You need to put in the time and learn about your customers, offer value and learn.
Yeah.
So
No, I definitely, if you can't sell something, you're not going to be able to stay in business. And so starting with that strategic sales development and planning that out, really answering your customers why, and then providing that content and answering those questions so that you can, move them through the sales process. And as you acquire customers, the same thing, what were the deciding factors, getting testimonials, all those things. I think really, to your point, everything we do is incremental. We, yeah, if you have certain cars that can go 0 to 60 super fast, but for most of us, a little bit more gradual acceleration is really the best way to go, so you don't get the whiplash.
I think it's a journey, right? Just like in
Yeah,
business ownership should be a journey of ups and downs, right? Just like in life, there's always challenges that you have to figure out, be decisive, and learn from the failures. And people expect to be an expert in like 6 months or a year. That's not realistic. Like if you're an athlete by any NBA, NFL, NHL star or Olympians, did it happen overnight in a year or 3 years or 5 years? Probably took 20 years to become
yeah,
that expert of daily habits, every day practicing. Same thing with, a dentist or a tradesperson like a plumber or roofer. It didn't happen overnight. They had to go to school, they apprenticed, they put in the hours, they worked for someone else before they became a business owner. And that took 10, 15, 20 years. So it's not like it's an overnight success. People want to dream, to want to be like a business owner that is ultimately like finally there's ultra successful, but they forget that it took them 20 years to become who they are today. And
yeah,
just like myself, like 8 years, I'm finally now confident to talk on different podcast episodes. But I've also did 10 years of sales, of like grinding out sales, telemarketing, door knocking, solicitation, every day, 10 hours a day of rejection, right? Like how many people can say that and still enjoy what they're doing?
yeah. No, sales is definitely one of those things. I started my sales career as cold calling as well. And you do have to have that resilience and that confidence in what you are providing, the value that you're providing, and the service that you're providing, knowing that you're actually going to help them so that you can knock on that next door, make that next call. And that's a whole nother conversation, Sean. That would be great from your experience, a great conversation to have at some point. But for today, this has been so valuable to our audience, hearing your, really honest advice on SEO for businesses at different stages. And I really want to thank you for sharing the importance of SEO and how it can lead small businesses to making more sales. I know that our listeners are going to want to be able to know where to find you and how to get more information about what you do.
Yeah, you can check out our website. It's localseosearch.ca. So we're based in Toronto, Canada, but we service clients all across North America and UK. We also have a podcast. It's called Local SEO Today. And it's a lot of fun, just like how you brought some content to the world and hopefully helping inspire business owners. We're doing the same. And it's myself and my VP of sales, and he came from Yellow Pages after working there for 30 plus years. So I'm very honored to really share some insights, tips, and valuable ways to increase their business revenue and top line sales metrics for businesses across the world, really.
Wow, that's terrific. All right. So everyone, and John, Amanda, this has been such an informative discussion. Thank you so much. And for everyone listening, if you have ideas you'd like to share, you can leave us a comment down below. We do want to hear from you. And if you have a question or would like to suggest topics for discussion, you can email us at jointheconversation@petite2queen.com. And of course, to stay current on everything we offer here at Petite to Queen, these amazing podcasts, the resources, and everything we have to offer, you can sign up for our weekly Wisdoms newsletter at petite2queen.com. John, Amanda, thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much for having me. Thank you.